guys and gals, it's me, George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, and man, have I got an update for you. Look at that beautiful bike. As far as I can tell, it's all together and everything is working. The only thing we haven't done is we haven't tried to start it. And this hasn't been run, well, I took it apart almost a year ago. And so it hasn't been running all that time. And not tonight, but tomorrow, Lord willing, I'm going to get this down off the bench and we'll get it down on the floor and we'll see about getting it started. I won't be taking it outside for a test run tomorrow because it's snow on the ground. But if we have a day up near 30 degrees next week, then we will take it for a test ride at the airport. So let's take a closer look and buzz around this thing so you can get an overall view. The heart of this bike, of course, is our engine, and this is a 5 horsepower Tecumseh engine that originally came off of an Arian snowblower from, I'm going to guess it was from back in the 70s. I guess I could check the numbers on the motor and find that out exactly, which I should do. And of course our cover for the clutch is off of a, what would you call it? A saucepan? Something like that, stainless steel anyway. But it protects our legs from the clutch, which is down in there. Yeah. And the gas tank, my oldest boy found that in a dumpster. That's a neat old vintage one, and we have used it before. And of course, it has, if I can get it so you don't get the glare, it has our Gadget Bike logo on there. And we have our, what they call heel runners, I think these wheels are. And I'm thinking about ordering a new set when I get a little more money, because these don't light up anymore. They used to light up. You'll remember first time around on this bike, maybe I can insert a little clip right here of it running with these lighting up. That was with the original motor on here, which was a chainsaw motor. And the back end of this bike is pretty much stock. It has the stock Stingray wheel and the brakes, which have been cleaned and have brand new pads that just came in the mail today and I just installed. It does have a sprocket, go-kart style sprocket, that has been welded to the wheel, and with the help of a sprocket from off of one of those Razor electric scooters. And then we come up here and our seat is off of a vintage exercise bicycle, one that I bought at a yard sale for $2. And I bought it just for the seat mainly. Of course, we have our Craftsman wrenches and another Craftsman wrench in here and another Craftsman wrench up here for our throttle linkage and our custom exhaust, which you'll get to see more of on the other side, and our polished up, and I got to do some cleaning on this thing because it's been sitting so long it's gotten dusty. Our ground down, and I took a lot of ribs and stuff off of this intake manifold and polished it up a little bit. Yeah. And our paint scheme, of course, is this textured hammered gray, they call it, like a toolbox. That's the idea behind it. And the red is a colonial red from a Rust-Oleum. And the white on here is a white to match the original white that was on the Arian's snowblower and on this Tecumseh motor, which is a colonial white. Of course, our foot pegs are made out of a set of ape hangers upside down, and the handlebars themselves cut off, and we have some stubs that kids put on their back wheels for doing tricks on. And of course, we want you to know that this bike is made in the USA. And we are not putting a regular speedometer on here as I had planned to run off of the front wheel. I tried putting one on the other day and there just isn't enough room. And so what I have done is I have actually ordered a cheapo digital one that will mount up on the handlebars, because I do want to have an idea how fast this thing is going when I ride it again. And all of the bearings have been repacked. I just repacked the front bearings on the front wheels and the bearings up inside the neck. I was going to use the chrome handlebars that I had mentioned before, but they are actually off of a motorcycle, and because they're a little bit too big around to fit inside of these standoffs. And these standoffs are not the original ones to this bike. These came off of the smaller version of the OCC chopper by Schwinn. And of course we have some Schwinn brake handles on here that are not original to the bike. And we have painted the brackets red to match the red trim on other parts of the bike. The handle grips themselves actually were on a set of jumping ropes that my wife had bought at the thrift store a while back. Yep, pretty cool, huh? And our throttle is another brake lever. This brake lever has been modified, of course, and shortened it down so it works under your thumb. That is off of a Razor scooter. So this bike didn't originally have front brakes, it only had rear brakes, and I added the front brakes and we welded this bracket on. And our standoff here is a socket, Craftsman socket. Yep. And the fender came off of some 20-inch bicycle, I'm not sure which, because there was no fender on here. And of course we come back around here to our toolbox. Yeah, this is a toolbox, because this lid comes off of here so that you could store, you could put some tools in there if you wanted, or you could put a tube patching kit in there if you wanted. Whatever your heart desires, you know, whatever you wanted to put in there. But that's put on there to kind of mimic the gas tank on the other side. And this is made up from two parts. This part here is a soup can, and this part here came off of a cake decorating utensil. Yep, and this came off of another pan lid. You know, you get these, you see these glass lids that go on these fry pans and stuff like that. Well, that's where this came from. Yes, sir. Straps are from a belt, and our handle here to hold our on and off switch, which says alive and dead. This handle came off of, can you guess? Before I tell you, it came off of a teapot. Yes, sirree, Bob. And then we come down here to our throttle linkage, which we modified quite a bit. It goes down, right down through the tube for the bicycle. And as I showed you before, we have a Craftsman wrench down here, and we have a couple of accessory knobs, one here on the top and another one down there in the bottom. And of course we have our famous inchworm spring set up for the return spring. How cool is that? And then that brings us around to our exhaust again. And our exhaust is made up of several pieces. Homemade flange up here. This first pipe coming around here is off of a vintage 10-speed, sliced here, and here's another piece of that same handlebar but rotated. And then it is welded into this piece, which is a seat post, you know, like this idea. And then a larger seat post, and actually this piece here is the original seat post for this bicycle, because this seat normally set way up in here, had a totally different seat. And then the sprocket adapts this to this larger piece that we picked up out of the dump, nice chrome tailpipe. The sprocket is the original pedal sprocket off of the rear wheel here. And this clamp, some piece that I picked up at the dump as well. Yeah, and then of course, because the oil drain is in an odd place, we had to bring it out to the side. And what better way to do it than to bring it out with a vintage water spigot. Yeah, so quite literally, to drain the oil on this, I would just open that up and let the oil drain out here. No mess, no fuss. No muss, no fuss, that's the way you say it. And this is not an original vintage style, a vintage glass sediment bowl, but it is a sediment bowl that looks like a vintage one, and it has the fuel shutoff here, as well as we have a fuel shutoff at the bottom of the tank, so we make sure we don't have gas leaking anywhere. And we have our custom clear red gas line. Yes, sir. So, yeah, and then we have our heat shield. And I'll demonstrate this heat shield for you better when we get it down on the ground and I can sit right on the bike, because this is sufficient to keep my leg away from here. The only time my leg ever bothered or got near this was when you were sitting and you tried to turn, let's see, turn to my right or turn to my left, I forget, but turn one way or another and your leg would come up against here. So this will stop me from doing that. When you're riding, your legs come up here and they're nowhere near any of this. So yeah, I think that about wraps it up. We have the original kickstand back on it. I did put this extension on here so it doesn't come all the way up, because if it came all the way up it would be interfering with our drive chain over there. Yeah, oh, I did have to make a concession. I hate to admit it, this is a Tecumseh motor, but we have a Briggs & Stratton pull handle on it, only because it's red and it goes with the color scheme. What else? So yeah, I'm pretty happy, pretty stoked. And I'm hoping that I can get my oldest boy to come over here with me tomorrow and help me get this down off of the bench. And we'll put it on the ground and see if we can get it to fire up. It'll be a cold start. It's about 50 degrees in here right now because I've had the heater going. It's probably down to about 15 outside. It's been not too bad today. I think it was like 22 for a high, which is pretty warm for us this time of the year. But I'm really happy. Oh, I forgot one other thing, one real important thing. This air cleaner, this custom Clinton, this is a vintage Clinton disposable air cleaner, it says on it. And I've removed the guts out of it. And we'll be putting a foam filter in there. But this came off of a vintage Clinton motor that I picked up at a yard sale that was in pieces. It wasn't complete, but it did have the carburetor and the air cleaner and a few other things on it. And in fact, for those of you who watch old Chevy 4x4, he put up a video last night of an old lawnmower that he got running and put back together, and he mentioned the fact that he got the carburetor from it for me. Well, that carburetor came off the same motor, Clinton motor, that this air cleaner came off of. So I had already modified it to go on here, so it didn't go with the carburetor. But the carburetor got him running, and so I'm really happy and very pleasantly surprised to be ready to road test this again. It will be almost a year since this was last on the road. Maybe it might even be a little over a year. I'm not sure. I'll have to check the dates on our last road test. But yeah, I don't know what you guys all think, but I think it looks pretty neat. And I can't wait to get it outside and get some good pictures of it against a simple background. It's kind of hard to get an overall impression of what it looks like in here, because no matter where I go, there's always some kind of junk behind it. Yep. And as the sign on the wall says, this is where the pavement ends, right here. So, until next time, this is me, George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, saying thanks for watching, thanks for following along, and thanks for commenting. Here's looking at you, kid. Bye now.